Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Today we're jumping into some malicious compliance. Our first story today comes to us from Frederick. I did all the work. Let's jump right in. This is my first time posting. This happened 20 plus years ago. I'm not sure why that matters, but I see it in many of these posts. I worked for the family business repiping mobile homes. Because I wasn't married and didn't have kids, my buddy and I were the out-of-town crew. We traveled all over the state. A typical week would consist of 10 houses over 5 days, 2 a day, Monday to Friday. That was the requirement. 10 houses must be plumbed a week, no exceptions. We had a backlog of work. After my buddy got good, we could easily plumb 2 houses in 6 to 7 hours. The other crews typically took 10 hours for 2 houses. Since we were paid by the house, it didn't matter how fast or slow you were, so as long as you did 10 houses a week. I've always hated working 5 days a week, so we decided each Monday morning to look at our work orders and rearrange the schedule, so we did 2 houses Monday, travel time getting to the first job, 3 on Tuesday and Wednesday, then 2 on Thursday, leaving us all day Friday to sleep in, explore whatever town we were in, and enjoy a 3-day weekend. This went on for some time, until my girlfriend wanted to go out of town for a 3-day weekend. So we finished on Thursday, drive to the shop, dropped off my van, and left for the weekend. Friday afternoon, I get a call. It's the boss. "Where are you?" "New York." Obviously confused. "New York? What do you mean?" "I mean, I'm currently in New York City. What's up?" Lots of confused questions and snarky answers back and forth. "Why did you cancel your Friday jobs? Is something wrong with your van? It's at the shop." I didn't cancel any jobs. Now more confused by how I did 10 jobs in 4 days than how I was in New York without their knowledge. "How did you do 10 jobs in 4 days? I decided it would be easiest to tell them that I've been doing this for a while. Pissed. Absolute fury that I'd been claiming my per diem and hotel while not working Fridays. Sunday night turns into a lecture of how I should be doing more for the business. I remind them we're the only crew that goes out of town. I'm told from here on out, I'm doing 13 jobs a week. I ask if the other crews will be expected to do the same, considering they all work locally. Nope, just me. So I plan the compliance. I tell my cousin to schedule our next week in the city furthest away, about a 5-hour drive. We were normally only scheduled 9 jobs for that city, as the first day drive took up so much time. No need to remind anyone of that, the number is 13 this week. So we head out Monday, no changes, no tweaks, just do what's scheduled. Obviously, we can't do 2 on Monday. Half our day was spent driving. It didn't help that we weren't exactly rushing. So around 4, we call the office and tell them to call the customer. We won't be able to get to them. The customer is furious and asks when they'll get rescheduled. No idea. Fast forward to Thursday. While finishing job 10, we call the office and inform them that we're out of material. No pipe, no fittings, no wholesale house to go to, nothing. Please tell the boss to bring us more. I get a call from the boss. "What happened?" "The van can only hold 10 jobs worth of material. That's the way you set it up. Can't you get to X and get more pipe?" "That's 2 hours away each way. We'll have to cancel another job. Plus, they charge double what we pay in town." "Why didn't you say you couldn't do 13 jobs?" "I did. You said I was being lazy." "I thought you meant you didn't want to do 13 jobs, not that the truck couldn't hold enough material." "I didn't want to do 13, and you set the trucks up. It's your truck. I'll meet you at your first job at 7 a.m. With a smile you can hear over the phone, "See you in the morning, boss." An exhausted boss drops off pipe and fittings at 7. "Hey, did you want to help me knock out the Monday job we canceled, or do you want us to stay another night? Hotel, per diem." We went back to 10 jobs a week after that. So many of these malicious compliance posts involve a boss that has no idea how their own company runs. How can you manage something if you don't know how to do it yourself? It just baffles me. Do me a quick favor, have a look down below the video. If that subscribe button's still red, it means you're not actually subscribed to the KCC channel. Please hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories. Our next story today comes to us from Queso Scaria. I certainly don't want to harass a customer. Let's jump right in. So finally, I have a story to post here. I work in health IT. Specifically, I assist people with getting into various patient portals to access their health information, make appointments, message doctors, etc. 95% of the people who call us are nice and often grateful when we're able to help them get back into their portal. Some start as frustrated, but once they see we're able to help them and get them what they need, they transform and become sweet as pudding pie. Then there's the other 5%. Oh boy. A note here that the company I work for is excellent. They put an emphasis on customer service first, but also have our back if there are any genuine issues with the customer misbehaving. Everything is recorded, so if there are any questions, quality assurance or management can go back, hear for themselves, and make recommendations as needed. All this leads to our caller for today. Mr. Douche was having problems getting into his portal. He calls me, literally yelling about how broken and garbage your system is, with a tone implying I personally picked the EHR and portal for a medical organization in another state just to spite him. Hey, no hurt feelings here. There are some things I don't like about the portal either, but he continues on and on about how much he hates it, all his friends hate it, and his neighbors hate it, his pets hate it, and so on. When I can finally get a polite word in, I ask him for his name so I can look him up in our system. He spits out his name, Bob Douche. Per HIPAA, I also have to ask for 2 secondary identifiers to make sure he is the right Bob Douche. I asked for his date of birth and the last 4 of his social security number per procedure. He rants about why I can't get him back into his chart now and screeches out the rest of his info. I try to find him in the system as he continues babbling angrily, and lo and behold, he's not in there. I politely ask him to spell his name. Geez, don't you know how to do your job? Turns out his name is not spelled like the normal douche. It's spelled something like douche. I finally find him and open his file. So you can't get into the portal, sir? Yes, didn't I just say that? Okay, sir, I see your username is douchenozzle86. I can't look up old passwords, so would you like me to give you a temporary one? Screaming intensifies. I'm already in my portal, he cries in fury, completely contradicting what he said mere seconds ago. I need help finding my information. I am now holding my headset away from my ear in pain. If my cubicle neighbor had not been at lunch, I'm pretty sure he'd be able to hear this guy just as clearly as me. I'm sorry, sir. I thought you just said, don't you even know what you're doing? Well, sir, what are you? Why do you keep asking me these questions? You're harassing me. Oh, well now. I can't be harassing my customers. That's just not appropriate and against our company's policies, of course. Deep breath, clear voice. Well, sir, I'm trying to assist you, but if you feel I'm harassing you, then I'm afraid I need to end this call. The screaming had become intelligible at this point, though I heard a couple of curses thrown in. Remember how I said our company has our back? If abusive language is used, we're allowed to disconnect after a warning, and I had already told him I was going to end this call. I'm sorry I wasn't able to help you, sir. Thank you for calling Patient Portal. Have a good day. Push end call. Per procedure, I immediately notified quality assurance of what had just happened in case the guy called back with complaints or started bellowing at other agents. QA listens to the call and comes back with, wow, that guy started angry and he never let up. You tried to help and you had more patience than I would have. You're fine. I went on to help many other lovely customers through the rest of the day. He, thankfully, never called back. I would not be surprised to find he filled himself with so much rage he spontaneously combusted, leaving a vacuum of bitterness behind in his place. Ah yes, spontaneous combustion, because he really did make an ash of himself. I've got to be honest, most of the time when you're talking to a customer service agent, if you treat them with a little bit of respect, they're going to help you out and get what you want done. These people are at work, and I guarantee you 99% of those people listening to this right now have worked a job sometime in their life too. Did you enjoy it when people came in screaming at you? Didn't think so. No reason to do that to customer service either. Our next story today comes to us from Magnus40. HR didn't want to have an awkward conversation with a couple of people, so we all get extra days off. Let's jump right in. The company I worked for had a quite old-fashioned attitude to the workplace. The workforce was divided into boiler suits and suits, or workshops and office. They regarded office as educated, professional and honest, and workshop as stupid, half-butt, and petty thieves. This was not a view I agreed with. I had come from a company where everyone from janitor to general manager were treated the same and could have an input. If something went wrong in design or manufacturing, it was often the guy working the machine or fitting the parts who spotted it and came up with the correction. In my new place, the office would not accept input from workshop unless they really had to. Workshop had to clock and account for every minute, whereas office were on the honor system. We were trusted to input our own hours, and we usually just entered our 8 hours per day, despite usually working more, sometimes a lot more, because we were professional in our work ethic. In my old place, everyone clocked. It was no big deal, but suggesting that it happened here was like suggesting that office workers were untrustworthy. Then there was Bob. Bob turned up about 8:30 and left about 3:30, and somehow still managed to log 8 hours per day. We had a half-hour lunch break. We could extend it but had to log it and work the time back. He took long lunches of about an hour or so. He was also a heavy smoker, and about 3 to 4 times an hour, Bob would pop outside for a smoke. Everyone knew about Bob, including HR. We knew that Bob was on a shaky peg for a while because his working hours were getting shorter and shorter while still being charged at 8 hours. Something had to give. HR had an easy job. Have a word with Bob and get him to work the hours he claimed, put him on an RA, remedial action plan, or else fire him for his misaccounting hours. Instead, HR decided to instigate a new policy that everyone on site would clock and would have to account for their hours on site. At no point did HR actually talk to anyone in the office. They just seemed to come up with this plan based on what they think went on. Engineering were generally happy with this, although a few did grumble about honor and trust. HR just shrugged their shoulders and shifted the blame onto the European Working Time Directive and said that it was the new normal, nothing we can do, honest. You don't BS engineers, because we like rules, and sure enough, some of the engineering team researched it and found out that HR were just using EU law to railroad through a new process. We did need to record worked hours, but nowhere did it say we had to use an electronic clocking system to do it. The old system fulfilled the requirement of the law just fine. The new clocking machines were fitted in every entrance to the office block. We were all given swipe cards and training on using the new system. We could have pointed it out to HR, and indeed some people tried, but the decision had already been made, and they pushed ahead with it. We all knew what was coming, and we continued on as normal, waiting for the end of the month. At the end of the month, the project billing controllers went nuts. While 1 or 2 people were genuinely stealing time from the company, the rest of us were under-accounting for our time. Engineering were on a flexible working day. As long as we did core hours and did our 8 hours, then we were okay. Anything over 8 hours was banked, and at the end of the month was either paid as overtime or flexi time. I normally started at 7 a.m., but I was usually in by 6:40, and we worked to the job, so I could leave at 3:30, but it was often closer to 4. Most of us were the same, but we usually just rounded to an 8-hour day. Suddenly, the projects lost 3 to 4 hours of free overtime per person per week, with an office of around 300 people. That is a crapload of time, and that had to be paid as overtime or banked as flexi as per our contract. 1 or 2 managers suggested that we just adjust our time to the previous hours, but falsifying clocking hours was gross misconduct and a sackable offense, so they went back in their box pretty quickly. HR told us to log our time accurately, and so we did. HR refused to back down because EU law, which we knew that this was rubbish, and so the productivity figures went down, in some cases by over 10%. Costs went up as we had to be credited with all the extra time, and so we all got at least a flexi day per month that we never had before. Thanks, HR. All you needed to do was have a word with Smokey Bob and his and all would be well, but because you wanted to avoid an awkward conversation, we all get extra holidays. Woohoo! Okay, I understand it depends on the country that you're in, but in most of them, if you're not logging all the hours that you're working in the first place, and you're putting in a whole bunch of extra time for a company and not getting anything back for it, you're getting screwed. It's not worth it. When you continue to do it, the companies expect you to do it, and that's just a horrible situation. Our last story today comes to us from Absolutely Zero Life. I didn't give you the right amount of pork? Let me correct that. Let's jump right in. Quick story, but it was absolutely hilarious. I work at a US Western popular counter-serve, laid-back Mexican place. It's most popular in Utah, but has locations in the surrounding states. It's like a Subway for Mexican food. We serve burritos, tacos, enchiladas, salads, quesadillas, and more, all with customizable ingredients. At this place, we have very organized and guideline-set portioning. The meat is the most portioned, with there being regular checks that the guest is not being given too much or too little. So we get really busy at times. This happened last night, and it was really crazy. I was working at the front of the line where the guest selects entree, tortilla, rice, beans, and meat. One guest, a larger woman, comes in and immediately starts complaining how long the line is, loudly. We are getting through the guests as fast as we can, but it is quite slow because it is incredibly busy, and we keep running out of our more popular meats because they have to be grilled and cooked. Karen gets to the front and absolutely starts laying into me about how long the line is. I try to keep the interaction moving in order to keep the line moving, so I take her order. She orders a pork salad. Now, I don't care all that much for the portioning, so I give a little extra if I can get away with it. So I do this for her. "That's not enough meat," Karen snaps. "Oh, I'm sorry, would you like extra meat?" "That will cost just a bit extra," I reply. "No, I just want regular, but you are being effing stingy. That's not 4 ounces. I know the owner of this place. I know exactly how much it should be." "It is accurate according to our portion standards," I say. We go back and forth for a minute, but I've had enough. She says, "Just get me the correct amount of damn pork." "Okay then, I will." I get a scale, and she watches me put the pork in, and it reads 5.9 ounces. I then scoop out some into the trash until it reads exactly 4 ounces. "There you go," I say, "the exact amount of pork." She doesn't even bother finishing her order. She doesn't even ask for the manager. She just flips me off, says "F you," and storms out. Not the most dramatic story, but it was darn funny. This one completely reminds me of a story from a couple of days ago where a guy demanded to get the exact same seats on a canceled flight and then found out that everyone else left who was on the flight got upgraded to first class and he was still stuck in coach. But at least he had the extra legroom because he was in the exact same seats. Now, OP for this story did mention down below in a comment that had the customer been nice to them, they probably would have given them more, no problem. But because they chose to be a complete Karen about it, it was malicious compliance and well deserved. Check out all 4 OPs linked in the description down below. I thank you for watching, hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.